What's a story from your life so outrageous you wouldn't believe it if someone else was telling it? When I was a newborn and my parents were bringing me home from the hospital for the first time, my neighbor ran outside and pointed a shotgun at my face, and was yelling at my parents, "Take that baby elsewhere. That thing is gonna cry and make too much noise." Needless to say, the police were called, and the SWAT team became involved. I was staying over at a friend's house when I was 16. It was pretty late and we were in her room watching a movie when all of a sudden we saw headlights coming at her window really quickly like it was about to hit the house. We both screamed and jumped out of the bed, but then nothing. We ran to look out the window, but no cars were in the driveway besides her mom's. Their driveway was long and their house was pretty far off the road and isolated, so if someone was turning around we would have seen them. Shortly after that, the phone rang. It was the police calling to tell her mom that her dad had drunkenly crashed into someone's house. Everyone was okay, luckily. We told her mom what we experienced, but she didn't believe us. No one we told did, so we just decided from then on to keep it to ourselves. We still talk about it once in a while 23 years later. It is one of the weirdest experiences I've had to date. I went to visit a friend's house with a group of friends. A friend who we were visiting has an open door policy with friends and family. No need to knock, just come in and announce yourself. So we all did exactly that. We all walked into his house and started saying, "Hello, Mrs. Doubtfire." We didn't hear anything at first, so we tried again. After the fourth or fifth hello, we finally hear a hello back from upstairs. We figured he and his wife were getting changed, so we sat down on the couch to wait. About a minute later, my friend and his wife walked in the front door. All of us that were screaming hello sat there and looked at each other. We all heard the hello coming from upstairs. To this day we have no clue who said hello, but it was fucking creepy. When we were growing up, this one dude's mom stuffed a piñata thing with lots of fruit. She must have left it out for a long time. 'Cause all I remember was her son smashing some transformer looking thing, it breaking open, fruit falling out and us being like, "Where is the candy?" Then seeing random insects falling along with the fruit and crawling in all the crap that fell on the floor. Oh, and her son literally ran away from the raining bugs and bananas. I remember that too. I think I've told this story before, but here goes. I was a sophomore in high school and my mom worked at a hospital as head of security. They run drills to test each system, including infant abduction drills. So mom brought me in and I had to go into a room and steal a fake baby. I shoved it in a Lowe's bag and ran to the stairs and made it out. One of the nurses threw a shoe at my head. The doctor that was supposed to deliver me killed himself rather than going to work that day. This was common knowledge in my family since I was a baby. I used to say, as a very young child, that he was waiting for the gates of heaven to be open. Turns out he wasn't really a doctor, and the law had caught on. When I was visiting Korea, my taxi driver spoke perfect English, was an escaped convict, and got into a high-speed chase with the cops while he was dropping me off. When the chase started, he ran a stoplight and almost got us hit by a truck, then sped up over 100 miles per hour swerving through traffic. He actually sorta juked the cops and dropped me off in a random alley about 2 miles away from where I needed to be. I peed myself a little and I was so shaken when he dropped me that I could barely walk. By the way, he put me out of the car at like 5 to 10 miles per hour, it was super fast. I answered a Craigslist ad in a desperate whim to get a job in film, and ended up working for a year for a crazy dude who, thanks to some good pandemic timing, became a Netflix phenomenon. Like an idiot, he had me rolling the camera at all times, and some of my footage would later be used as evidence in the 9 charges against him for illegally killing and selling tigers. Met a dude on Xbox Live and gamed together for a while. A couple of weeks later, I had a party at my apartment and one of my roommates invited a neighbor. I met him and talked for a little before I realized it was that guy the first had been playing Xbox with. It turns out he had lived in the building next door the entire time. Went from Xbox friends to actual friends after that. My brother was dating a girl and things were starting to get serious, so he brought her around to meet the parents. While making small talk, my mom recognized her as the baby of the woman with whom she shared the hospital room when my brother was born. I'm not young, so back then women were usually in the hospital for a few days after birth in general. They even kept in touch for a few years, but as things often do, they lost touch. They are married now with 3 girls. They were born one day apart. Turned out one of my classmates who we all thought was a 15-year-old girl was actually a 30-year-old woman. Accidentally threw away $1,000 in New York City. It was in an envelope that my partner unknowingly put in recycling, and then went to the recycling center in Staten Island, wading through a literal mountain of papers, magazines, cardboard, and actually finding it. It's my best true story, and I don't think most people believe me. In freshman year of college I was dating my first real girlfriend. When I say real I mean we didn't live at our parents' houses and had our own places so we could have normal adult relationship things like staying over on a nightly basis etc. And at a party she was wasted and fell down the front steps on the way out, causing her to break her nose and subsequently having a massive black eye. I wasn't even at that party, and we were leaving the parties we were at to meet up. A couple of days later, we were at a Starbucks and a middle-aged woman came up and smacked me in the back of the head insanely hard and just said shame on you, and it took us a solid couple of hours to realize that it looked like I beat my girlfriend. We got some pretty horrible stares in public for the next week or two, and I even got spit at a couple of times, but no one believes you in that situation when you try to say it's not what it looks like. I've had a fire alarm go off whilst in an MRI, then a CT scan machine, and then on a radiotherapy treatment table. All of them require you to be inside the machine strapped in. All took place in different hospitals, and it was over the course of a year. Hey, if you like the video so far, consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video for more. I go by a pretty uncommon nickname. I had a college class, and on the first day, I was the first to show up and picked my seat. The class fills all the way up except for the seat behind me. We are about to pair up for some exercise, and some kid walks in, about 30 minutes late, and sits in the only open seat behind me. We pair up and he introduces himself by my name. Same nickname and last name. I thought I was tripping out, but we had a good laugh about it. He dropped the class after the next week, which was okay because he was pretty annoying. I once accidentally went through the USA-Canada border trying to go to Walmart. I couldn't do a U-turn once I was on the road for it, and I had blindly followed my GPS to go to the closest Walmart that I didn't realize was in Canada. I live close to the border. They searched my car and I had 4 phones due to my internet job and also a baggie full of melatonin pills. I was in between moving to a new apartment and I needed to bring the melatonin, but I lost the cap to the container, so I poured the pills into a baggie. My internet job involved posting affiliate links to cam sites to different Snapchat accounts at the time, hence the 4 phones. I spent 4 hours at the Canadian border office in an interrogation room trying to convince them I wasn't a crazy drug dealer. I was renting an apartment in Sofia, Bulgaria. Next door neighbor was this 20-something guy who blasted house music at all times and had a different girl over every other day, talking to her so loudly, laughing like a jackal. It was getting so bad I could hear his voice in my sleep. So I decided to get a break. Went to Greece for a week. Surprisingly affordable. Now I'm in a small house hotel. Nice room. View of the sea. Suddenly I'm hearing house music from the room next door. What kind of luck is this? I gently ask the 2 German girls in that room to turn the volume down a little. Then I go out, drink some ouzo, come back, and now I'm hearing my annoying neighbor's jackal laugh from the German girls' room. Am I losing my mind? I know this guy isn't here. No way. The next day again, I hear his voice through the wall. More house music. Day 3. More of his voice. More ouzo for me and thoughts of madness. On day 4 I go over to the German girls just as my neighbor is cackling the loudest. I see his mug on their laptop screen. In Skype. Turns out the girls met him on some dating site a few days back and now he's sharing his favorite tracks with them. I couldn't even be mad. So I brought over a bottle of ouzo and drank it with the girls, toasted my annoying neighbor on Skype, and listened to his demented house music all evening. I was working part-time at a hotel as a maintenance guy and part-time at a pop warehouse at night. A guy got in a wreck, so I moved to full-time at the pop warehouse. I'd put in my 2 weeks notice at the hotel when a new guy started at the front desk fresh back from running to Las Vegas to get married. The hotel manager said, "You're both into computers, I'm sure you dorks will get along." And we did. He pawned his lunch off on me, hated his new bride's cooking too plain, and I joked it was a lot like my mother's cooking. He said I should come over and watch some TV. I suggested Buffy the Vampire Slayer or this new Smallville, and he said, "That's what Trudy watched." I'm more into NYPD Blue and CSI. I was a farm boy, while Bill was a city kid through and through. They had a local wedding reception the following weekend, and Bill introduced me to Trudy's parents with, "I'm glad I got a hold of Trudy first because this guy is perfect for her." And I finally got to meet the girl he kept bragging about. We hung out for 4 years as a trio until Trudy confessed that Bill was abusive. She packed up all her belongings in totes. I swung by the house with the pop truck and threw everything in, and moved her into town in about 2 hours. Bill was furious, but he knew he'd finally gone too far. Trudy and I have been married 16 years now and have 2 sons. When I was a kid, my first childhood dog was old and had cancer, so not long to live, and somehow got out of the house and got hit by a car miles away. I was devastated and felt horrible that I kind of ignored her as I was getting older. Fast forward about a month or so and my family goes to this farm, and we get a puppy. This shaky, timid runt seemed very attached to me. I became very attached to him. I vowed I would treat him and any other pet with a lot of love and affection. That night I am taking him out back to use the bathroom. I watch him and make sure he is okay. The back part of my family's yard was shaded and very dark. He runs off into the dark, and then I start hearing him bark. So I go to get him. And then I see him playing and barking, but not in an aggressive way. I am thinking, what is he playing with? We have no other dogs and we have a tall fence. As I get closer I realize he is playing with another dog. I think someone's dog jumped our fence and is playing with my pup, but then I see the dog, and it is my recently departed childhood dog, but younger and healthier. Same markings, same eyes, everything, just looked younger and healthy. I locked eyes with my childhood dog, and felt an immense wave of everything will be alright. You did nothing wrong. You are a good person. I am at peace, etc. type emotions washing over me. I tell her I love her and am sorry. I blink. When I opened my eyes, she had vanished. My childhood dog was now sniffing the air and ground and just sat down with this look of where did the other dog go? I grew up with that puppy I got that day. He was my best friend and my loyal companion. He lived to be 15 years old. Very old for his breed. He spent the last year or so of his life living with me, and not with his family. I am a skeptic as an adult, but I swear that when I was a kid and feeling horrible guilt, I got a visitation from my recently deceased first childhood dog. You can share your own story down in the comment below, and thanks for watching the video.